with each other, as it was important. Our ego was so important to each of us. So, these monks were arguing because what they are doing was important. Each one of them. So that because of that, they had kind of argument, disagreements. Finally, it goes to the Buddha, and then Buddha explained it to them. Sabbata sanguto sadhu. So not only one particular sense, we have to restrain ourselves in every means, every way. All the senses are important for us. I think this is a very important thing for us to focus on today. In the world, in wherever we live, we can see people and how we behave, what we do. As the topic was mentioned, are we really true practitioners? It's not I am asking, but we all should be asking that question by ourselves. What is Dhamma? And we all know Dhamma. All of you who are here gathered today, there's nothing new that anybody can teach. And today is very advanced than those at the time of the Buddha and at the time that we grew up. And we all are living in a very advanced world technologically. Even today it's proving. So we are gathering here from many different parts of the world. So we have been listening to Dhamma, I believe, from your childhood, whoever new to Dhamma, so that you are listening. So ask yourself, check yourself, how much did I practice? How much did I benefit from this? So Dhamma is there, Dhamma is all around us, and especially this, with the advanced technology, we are listening to Dhamma every day. What is important thing is not listening to Dhamma. It's important, but not only listening to Dhamma, but the application, which is missing in many lives. So individually, you will be very happy by looking at yourself, by reflecting on you. Because individually, we know how much we are making effort to practice this supreme Dhamma. Why? We are very fortunate. We are Buddhist. We call ourselves we are Buddhist. So we have the Dhamma. You can be very happy because of that. And not only that, we are human beings. Being a human being, born at the time where the Dhamma is existing, so we are very fortunate in that sense. How many of us do we have that opportunity? So where I live here, millions of people are here in this huge city. But how many of them, they know the Dhamma? They have opportunity to listen to Dhamma? And how many of them are ignoring it? There are people, they have opportunity sometimes. They ask questions, they learn it, But unfortunately, what they say is, I'm not ready yet. There are many people who come and they ask questions. They express their happiness to meet with monks, and they have heard about it. Yet, I'm not ready yet. Why? What is the readiness? Readiness is to let go. Let go of the habitual way of living. Means what they habit, what they're comfortable, what they are attached to. Because of that, they have difficulty of letting go of that, the usual lifestyle. They cannot come and practice it. I remember once I met a very elderly lady. She was thinking, I will never be able to be a Buddhist. What is Buddhist means? So thinking, when we observe precepts, reminding ourselves to practice those principles, adhere by those 5 basic principles as we introducing those 5 precepts. So she was mentioning, I will never be able to be a Buddhist. I was asking question, why? Because I have every evening, I take my glass of wine. There may be people like that, they have no understanding. Buddhist is a label, but if we think of ourselves too sometimes, individually you can think, how much am I practicing? There are people who have matured in the Dhamma, who have been practicing. They want to be perfectly be Buddhist, practicing 100% of these principles. That is, in a sense, in a way, what we call as Silabbata Paramasa. You are hanging on to, clinging to principles, in a way. But Buddha, of course, he did encourage us. He did encourage us to practice every moment, every day. But he did understood people have weaknesses. Not everybody is ready yet. But getting into the path is a very important part. To learning and applying it, what you can apply, at least. So what I was telling that elderly lady, I said, you can practice, start with 1. If you really want to be, practice this 1 principle. Add 1 by 1, little by little, to everyday life. Learning Dhamma, you can apply it in as much as you can every day. So you can be very happy at the end. Looking at your progress, you are the person who is to see it. We are not looking at the other people and criticizing other people. We just simply look at myself. As we know in the Buddha's encouragement is that napare sang vilomani, napare sang kata katang attanava vekkeye katanya katani. This is what we're supposed to do. Because We just watch ourselves. Instead of looking at another person, pointing the finger at the other person, criticizing the other person, that is not what we're supposed to do. Supposed to look at ourselves. How much am I practicing? That question that in the topic that you mentioned, yes, I did mention that are we true Buddhist? It is not to criticize anyone. I just simply wanted you to think about yourself. Idea is that Buddhist people are the people who are thinking. Buddha always make us to think ourselves, not to believe. Look at yourself and see how much are we practicing. Being mindful. Key is that. Why we are listening to Dhamma is to bring us into that perfectness. Remember, look at the Buddha statue every day. You see the statue at your home. Many of us have a statue at home. This Buddha statue is embodiment of the 10 perfections. These perfections, he did perform them for such a long time to be the Buddha with great determination. He set his mind long time ago. 4 years plus time period he was performing virtues to be the Buddha. Why? Did he want to build up his ego? No. He was not doing it just for himself. He wanted to find the path of happiness for himself as well as the others. Out of compassion, he did this. He didn't do it to boost his ego. If we are the one, maybe we have that weakness. We do things to show off to the world. I did this or I did that. So therefore, he was not doing in such intention, but out of compassion he did that, perform those virtues. And every day, whenever you see this statue, that should be bringing into your mind these 10 qualities, 10 perfections. And it is not for himself, not only for himself to be the Buddha, for us to improve ourselves. We can use the same perfections, perfect ourselves to realize the Dhamma, practicing. Whatever, of course, there may be weaknesses. We all have weaknesses. We are not perfect yet. That is why we are learning Dhamma. That is why we are practicing Dhamma. Add ourselves, improve our practice every day. Not somebody is watching. You are not doing it to show off to these other people. We have to be very careful with Dhamma, because sometimes when we do that, you are maybe building, improving your, your conceit, your arrogance. When you do practice, you may be comparing it with the other people. Oh, I'm better than him. Oh, I'm better than her. That is not the idea. Idea is to improve your spirit. Very subtly watching yourself, you are reducing your weaknesses. So you can be very happy looking at yourself, reflecting on it. As I say it, it reminds me actually there are several discourses. I think you may be familiar with this. Mahanama Sutta. There are several, not only one. In the Tripitaka, in Sangyutta Nikaya you can find them, and Anguttara Nikaya you can find a couple of them. If you read them, you can see that when the Buddha was there, in the Shakyan clan during the Vassana retreat. I believe it didn't say that in this, but when Buddha or the monks were there for 3 months, that means that Vassana retreat he spent there. And so monks were preparing robe for him. I thought that was something like preparing cutting a robe, even though it was not mentioned in that particular discourse. Monks were preparing robes, and after they finished, the Buddha would be leaving Shakyan clan, Shakya state. So this was heard by Mahanama Shakya. Mahanama is one of his cousins after Buddha left home. He is the one who had to take the responsibility of the kingdom. So he came to the Buddha and he asked, "Venerable Sir, I heard that you are going to leave, but I like to, before that." So he came and he asked that question. And how should we live? So what did he mention was, he encouraged, he was very happy here that he came as a responsible person. He praised him for that. And even though he is busy, he's still willing to. His willingness, his approach to the Buddha and to inquire about it. How should we live our life? What is the better way to live? So he appreciated that question. Then he said, he encouraged him to reflect on this. This is how, in Pali it says, Idatwang Mahanam Tathagatang Anusariyasi. Not only that, he encouraged Mahanama to practice, reflect on things. Buddhang Anusariyasi, Dhammang Anusariyasi, Sanghang Anusariyasi. Reflect on Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and Silang Anusariyasi. Your practice, when you do practice, so that's helping you. And Chaganusati, what we have done, what we have shared. And Devatanusati, there are 6 things that he reminding. At least we know from our childhood, our parents, we were encouraged, reflect on the Buddha. Itipiso Bhagava Araham Samma Sambuddho Vijjachana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu. So likewise, so he was encouraging us to practice Buddha's 9 qualities. They are, because it's familiar to us, we easily can do it. And don't ignore these things. They are very simple. Sometimes we are searching for these philosophic ideas and go to listen to Dhamma just to entertain ourselves. Dhamma is not to entertain, but to learn and practice. So therefore I ask that question, are we real practitioners? It's not I'm asking you, but individually, let's practice them. Let's ask that question. That would help us to improve ourselves, to be in the track. So instead of forgetting, that would help us to keep our mind pure. At least if we can reflect on practicing Buddhanusati, those 9 qualities are helping us to maintain the purity of our mind. Constantly, our minds are getting polluted. That we should be able to see. Why? If you are watching your mind, watching things that you do, that you can see that how many thoughts are generating in a day in our minds, which are not pure. So it's you are the one to know it, and you shouldn't be very angry about it. Sometimes people get very frustrated who really dedicate their time to practice. They may be getting upset about these things. We should not. Forgive yourself. Practice metta. With metta thoughts, Buddha has mentioned in particular, discourse, in addition to these 5 basic principles or Panchasila, practice metta, karuna, mudita, upekha. These are 4 noble qualities, 4 sublime state of mind. He encourages us to practice. Begins with metta. That metta helps us to calm down ourselves, cool down ourselves. Having metta thoughts, forgiving yourself, forgiving others because we do things, wrong things, due to our ignorance. So therefore, that's a weakness. So we are learning to Dhamma to get rid of our weaknesses, work out our weaknesses, either way that we can think, and start working to purify ourselves. Daily life. So therefore, forgiving is skill where we need. Metta practicing means you are forgiving for the mistakes and determined to practice. So determination is important. Those 10 perfections are important to us too, to improve ourselves. So reflect on them. Reflect on those 10 perfections and use them in everyday life. So therefore, determination is a very, very important thing. So determination, keeping in our mind that we practice, and having metta in our mind, having perseverance in our mind. So we continue to practice in everyday life, not once a week, not once a month, that the day that we go to listen to Dhamma or to practice. Every day we should be keeping this mind and working at it. Then we are real practitioners, the way I look at it. So therefore we have to practice in daily life. Buddhism in our day, Dhamma in our daily life. So it's not to, this is very delicate. Remember that, sometimes maybe when we are too sensitive, that is also bothering you. But without sensitivity, so you will be falling into the, wrong path too. So therefore, mindfulness is the key. As Buddha mentioned, ekayano ayang bhikkhave maggo sattanang visuddhya. Only one way to practice purity, maintain the purity. That is mindfulness. So in that sense, it's very important. All of us practitioners of the Dhamma, these are very helping. These qualities are helping. These, important things we have to have in our everyday life. Every day when we do think of it, being mindfully, we can improve ourselves. We can see the Dhamma. We can be happy of ourselves. So let me go back to my story of Mahanama. So Mahanama came and asked that question. We then encouraged him to practice Buddhanusati. So if it is only for Buddha, not only for Mahanama, for all of us, it helps us, because Buddha says there in a particular discourse, he says that helps you to maintain the purity of your mind, that never generate anything wrong in as we do think of those 9 qualities of the Buddha. So when he was saying, he mentioned that when we think of the Buddha, those qualities, of course, that we can see that how long he was practicing for such a long time, these magnanimous qualities that he developed. So it's very pure. It generates great saddha in us, to the Buddha, because he did himself what he has to do, because he did not expect anything from us. We know that we do so many things in everyday life, thinking that to respect to the Buddha, but his encouragement was practice yourself. So practice yourself. So because the Buddha is not going to benefit from any of things that we do, but we are the one who is to practice. We do so observing the precepts, and we make offerings to the Buddha. It's all these nice things, because at least when we think of those at that particular time, our minds are so pure. So that purity comes from our engagement. We have to engage our mind in those. As you recite, sometimes we think, Buddha never asked us to do this. Buddha never asked us to offer the flowers. Buddha never asked us to offer the lights. Of course, true. Those are called Amisa Puja. But is it wrong to do Amisa Puja? No. With the right mind, if we do things, there is nothing wrong in those activities. But when we do Amisa Puja, like huge, beautification every day, making it difficult for you to, even sometimes we have seen at the Ruan Valley that you're offering so many fruit, so much of flowers, beautification. Do we need that much elaboration in those activities? I don't know. You think about it. Manage yourself. Do things you can do, not to, torture yourself. Financial torturing, I don't think that much of extreme level of Amisa Puja, I don't talk about. Simply offering a flower, offering a glass of water, offering a light, offering an incense, that is also an Amisa Puja. I don't say that it is a wrong thing to do. Be simple. Not to go and torture yourself to what you cannot do. To that much of level that you shouldn't be going. Extreme levels to show off to the world, I don't know what we're getting from that kind of thing. Yet, if you be mindful, you can do in everyday life, you can do so many things which generate wholesomeness in your mind. Simply to maintain the purity of your mind. So these 9 qualities of the Buddha, when you reflect, when you recite, so that definitely generate, spiritual energy, purity. And 6 qualities of Dhamma, as you reflect on, that would help you to maintain the purity of your mind. Because Buddha says that. He said in that particular discourse that it would never. So he says, there na dosa pariyuttitang chittang hoti, na raga pariyuttitang chittang hoti. It's not smeared by the raga, lustfulness, desirous. No hate generate in your mind as you think of the Buddha's qualities. It doesn't generate any anger in you. You have compassion. Your kindness is there. Wow, so much he did to be the Buddha. He developed these qualities. Itipiso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjācana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattha deva manussanam buddho. See, when we think of these qualities, it never developed any raga, dosa, or moha. Anger is not there. And that's our delusional thought. We don't generate any delusional thoughts in that. And as you think of the Dhamma, reflecting on Dhamma, there are six qualities. Reflecting on Sangha, those nine qualities. They are really good qualities that for us to reflect on. They are helping us, those qualities are helping us to improve ourselves, generate these pure qualities in us. And he also asks us to think of this Sila Anusati. If you practice Sila, you can be very happy looking at them. Oh, I spend my whole day. So suppose now from the morning to the evening up until go to our bed, what other things did I do? Did I do any wrongdoings? If you can examine yourself, did I by mistakenly or by due to my weakness, did I violate any principles of that I try to adhere with? That's a foundation. Being on that foundation, you become very pure and you maintain the day, clean day. So then you can be happy. Oh, wow, okay. But even you have done anything, simple mistake, look at it and just forgive yourself and determine to practice it. Come back, or I'm going to watch it. So I was weak in here. So that's it. And also it cannot generate anything unwholesome because you did not do that intentionally. But due to lack of mindfulness, you did violate it, but there was no intention of doing it. So therefore, watching yourself, watching your daily practice, you can correct yourself and improve yourself. So mindfulness is helping you, and then you are in the path. So you are happy about it. So when you do it today, tomorrow also you can watch yourself and see it. Reflecting on, and you summarize your day before you go to sleep, and then you practice your metta and you go to sleep. So happily you are spend the day, and you are ending the day. So the practitioners always can be happy from watching yourself and doing things. So this, Buddha encourages us in the Mahanama Sutta, these things, Silanusati, Chaganusati. Chaga is your dana, your practice, whatever you have done. It's not just giving to the monks, it's dana. But look at what you shared with the other people. Compassionately you share. Even suppose now all of you are working in your work field. How did you spend the day? Were you compassionate enough to share the information with the other person who was searching for? You are getting paid for your work. That's a different story. But you can apply those qualities that you have learned from the Dhamma in that workplace. People that you come, people who are coming to get your service, do that with compassionately. So from that, you benefit. You can looking at it and you can be very happy looking at it. Compassionate, you did share the information. You were not angry because there could be sometimes people coming from, in their daily needs, they may be coming with the bad emotions. So with bad experience, they may be upset, but don't react to them. If you determine you are facing the situation, whatever comes, with metta in your mind, you can handle things easily. You will not get upset. You will not copy the person who coming with the difficulties. We have to be, facing in very mindful way that we are responding to the situation that arises in your workplace. So in that manner, you do improve, you are handling things very nicely and with the Dhamma in your life. So that would be a great blessing for yourself as well as the person who is coming to receive your service too. It's very important. So when you look at it, that's also part of Chaga. You shared. You gave something to that person. You completed something for that person. Something nice. So when the person comes and leaves you with that kind of impression, oh, wow, that person was so nice. Very kindly, that person was helping me to resolve my situation. So look, you gave that person something very important, good impression. That good impression is the Dhamma that you shared. You left good memory in that person's mind, and joyfully that person would be leaving with happily because she received the service that she was expecting, or the person was expecting. And in that way, you are touching the other people's life with the Dhamma. So therefore, you are doing a great service. That's also you can be happy. Chaganusati, looking at it as a chaga. Then also Buddha mentioned to look at ourselves, looking at the, what do you call this? Devatanusati. What does in Devata's life? We have heard so much about, many stories. And also it says that Moggallana, Venerable Moggallana goes to the divine realms sometimes and comes back and share the stories. So there was such and such person and they has done this and this is because of that, meritorious karma, this person has become in such. So that kind of descriptions that we have heard, we have learned, it's helping us to build up in ourselves our confidence, our strengthen our work, our spiritual work, reflect, wow, even though that I'm not asking you to do things to go to divine realm, that's not the story. But how much our work are we benefiting from the positive work that we do? And because of that, something very happily with the happy thoughts when we do things. So that is, generating this kind of positive results. So that would be inspiring you. So that is the reason I'm just mentioning it, is not to go to, to encouraging go to heaven realm. What we're supposed to do is to learn Dhamma and practice Dhamma and try to realize Dhamma in this lifetime if possible, if it is. So, that is our goal should be, but we may not, we don't know. We cannot guarantee because so much of to let go in us, in our system, that we have so much, we can let go of them, but with happy thoughts, definitely we can develop ourselves, improve ourselves to let go of our weaknesses and spiritual energy building up. So we always can be happy. And that is the joy that we get from our own practice. So joyfully, happily practicing Dhamma, that would help us to, bring ourselves in the right position. So kayena samvaro, chakkhuna samvaro, sadhu, sotena samvaro. So these five, see, simply look at ourselves. We are operated by these five senses. We're creating our world for now as well as for into the future too. Generating whatever, we generate in our minds using our own senses, sense faculties with our consciousness. What are we doing? We are creating world for us. Is that somebody else doing it? No. So simply what we can do is, what we have to do is to reflect on the Dhamma and live in the Dhamma. If you look at, the Buddha's life, what did he do most of the time? After he is in the morning, he will go for the foot rounds, and after having his dane, or his meal, he goes to park nearby or sitting under a tree, quietly reflecting on and practice. He was silently practicing. He was in the meditation. So as he meditated, he had the great skill. He can come into very short time. He can get into this meditative mode, what we call as jhanic state. He was living in the jhana. So therefore, jhana meditation is not something wrong. He was meditating and he was in samadhi. And if we can get into that kind of samadhi, our minds are very pure state. Remember, we are not in the samadhi state. At least if we are reflecting on the Itipiso Bhagavarahan Samma Sambuddho, that would not generate anything negative in our system. Instead of going after so many different things, if you watch your mind from one thought after another, one simple thing that you see would be clinging to wrong thoughts in your minds. So therefore, that's where we have to be very careful. So reflecting on Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, that definitely would be bringing something positive. It was not generating impure thoughts in your mind. So if we make a habit to, you may have seen sometimes visiting monks are there in Korean or the other kind. They always have counting their mala in their hands. So they have built up that habit of doing so. So as they are doing that, building up that skill, definitely. Give me 1 second. So definitely they are helping us to maintain the purity of our mind. Very important thing. So that, and if we have a habit of practicing meditation daily life, let's say 15 minutes to 20 minutes is a good habit. And that would be helping us to maintain that, getting back to this, anusatis, reflective meditations in everyday life. That is helping us. So that would help us to Chakkuna Samvaro Sadhu. Sadhu Sotena Samvaro. Ghanena Samvaro Sadhu. Sadhu Jivhaya Samvaro. See, these are the sense faculties that we are always using, and that generate thoughts in our minds. So that would be either dragging us to positive side or the negative side. So when we, eat something, let's say here there are people, so they always, sometimes they do find, oh, let's go to that restaurant or this restaurant. They are thinking of the food that they have ate in the past and reflecting on it. They go to please their tongue. So, oh, such and such places, so beautiful, so nice foods. And this is how everyday life is operated in our cells, with our friends. So we do go after. But so in such occasions also, even though that's your lunchtime, that you thinking and going, so what is happening in those times are generating craving, without much effort. This is things are happening. But if you are, suppose now, if you are a practitioner, you may not talk about that much of food. Food is just simply to sustain our lives. And therefore, I'm not saying that you should not enjoy it. But when we have that kind of, situations, suppose now I can get to those young people, they are, friendly, and then we can bring into their, thoughts. What are we doing? But what is happening this food as we digest? That is looking at things mindfully help us to maintain the purity. So in such consciously, when we do that training of our five senses, including our body, it helps us to watching ourselves, helping us to maintain the purity of our. That's a practice. So therefore, all of us can improve ourselves in everyday life, being mindfully. So meditation is important. Your basic five principles are important. That is your foundation. Being on that foundation, when you do practice, definitely we have opportunity for us to stay clean, but not to build up ego. Remember, by when we do one side, when we lose the other side, we should not do that because we compare with the other people. Or I'm better than the other person. I'm better than she. I'm better than him. So such comparisons are, instead of purifying us, that is impure qualities are developing in us. So therefore, it's very subtle, but mindfulness, as Buddha mentioned, mindfulness is the key, being mindful, so we can see the Dhamma. Then we can see the Buddha too. Yo Dhammang Pasati, so Mang Pasati. So definitely let's try to see the Buddha through the Dhamma. That would help us to liberate ourselves, free ourselves from these samsaric bonds that we are. We are bonded to this samsara, going one after another, one after another. So continuity of this cycle. So this is what Buddha said, break it. Break this cycle. So that is why he was so joyful under the Bodhi tree, being able to break it. Visankharagatang chittang tanhanan kayang ajjaga. So we have to bring our mind into that state too. Hard work. There's no easy work. So let's try our best to do this hard work, find the peace that Buddha saw. So bringing peace into us, we can bring peace into our others' lives too. So many different ways as practitioners. If we want to call ourselves Buddhist, put a label on it, on ourselves, we can do all those things. We can share the Dhamma, we can learn and practice and share the Dhamma in everyday life with the other people. So I think I'll stop here. So you can read that Mahanama Sutta. I think it is, there are several, not one actually. One Mahanama Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya, 8 categories, and also there's one in the 11 categories, and a few other places, and also in the Samyutta Nikaya. Just, nowadays, Dhamma is at the tip of your fingers. You have in your phone, find the app, type so you can find it. You can read it wherever you go. If you're riding in a bus, if you're riding in a train, you can find it, you can read it. Engage your mind in the Dhamma instead of letting it to see things and getting impure. So if you see the Dhamma, so that would be generating unwholesome thoughts, pure thoughts in your mind. So let's make that effort. Samma Vayama. So that is the way that we live in Dhamma. Samma Vayama. Of course, young people, they may be enjoying their life, let them enjoy. But as, adults, now you are in the age of being able to see the Dhamma. So seeing this Dhamma, we can benefit from it, we can live in it, we can make effort to see the Dhamma. So let's try all of us to do this and see the Dhamma, and seeing Dhamma, we can see the Buddha. So being able to see the Buddha, we can go away from this world peacefully. So thank you very much. So I will stop here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Bhante. It was well worth having waited 1 year, the way Bhante started and just stop. We keep every week we listen. We have some 200 and odd on our YouTube, but Bhante quite rightly said, stop and take stock of ourselves. Taking stock of ourselves in those so many, many ways, Sila Anusati and the Sila and the Panchasila and engage in the mind all the time with pure thoughts. Much merit, Bhante, and I know Bhante would like a lot of questions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bhante. It was so insightful and practical.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any
So yes, let's learn the Dhamma. If there's anything, any questions. I'm not going into these philosophic ideas, but I like to simply see the Dhamma, and that's why I was sharing this, just to observe ourselves. And so if there's any questions, please raise it now, so we all can benefit something from you. Maybe there's opportunity for us to learn again.
The chat says, Samantha, the people who are listening are excellent, inspiring talk and advice, Bhante, Sadhu Sadhu, Roshini Karunanayaka, Samantha.
Yeah, I saw it. It disappeared though.
Yeah. Some of them, that's one from Sri Lanka, the other one from UK. Any comments? And I know before coming, one of the things Bhante told me was he's hoping that it will generate a lot of questions. So can we have, I'm sure Bhante would like to answer questions.
Yes, I have no problem.
Samantha, yes, go ahead, Samantha. You have raised your hand. Unmute and ask, Samantha.
Thank you, Dr. Maneri, and thank you, Bhante, for that really motivational talk that really inspired me. And because I'm quite busy these days, with combining work and family matters as well. So I was just wondering, Bhante, what advice can Bhante give to inspire me, motivate me to practice daily and continue my meditation? Because I know it's the meditation that will guide me and help me. And just as Bhante said, to be in sati during the day, not just on the cushion. So that's what I would like to instill. How can I improve that, Bhante? Sadhu.
It is through the practice, actually. There's no other way. Because if you have a habit of doing this every day, at least 15 to 20 minutes, at least, if you do practice, you may be, we go back and forth. But, you may forget sometimes and you may be lost your mindfulness. But don't beat up yourself for that. That is habits, we experience that, all of us. But be compassionate to yourself, continue to practice and with determination in every day. And if you fail it today, you do it tomorrow too. And as we do that, that will be coming to you. It's a matter of setting your time and practicing it every day. I'm not suggesting you to, when you fail to do that or when you fail something, most of us may be blaming us and beating ourselves up, but that would not be helping you. So therefore, you have to be very compassionate to yourself too. If you are practicing, that's why we always practice metta to ourselves first. May I be well and happy. So that should be meaningfully you do it. And when you do that, and instead of getting angry and upset about you should not be doing so. So you forgive yourself and get back to practice, continue to do so that definitely you will be, come to a time, you will be experiencing yourself, you are okay now. So it's a daily practice. I think that would be helping you.
Thank you, Bhante. That's very encouraging.
Yes. Thank you.
And determination, quality, and the metta. Yeah.
Definitely. Yes.
Thank
yes.
you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Any other comments or questions, please?
So Bhante Anand also can help us, explaining or giving his thoughts, sharing we both of us can help. So if there's any question, please feel free to ask.
Actually, Venerable Kondanna, I think you have already covered most of the things that can be covered. That was very nice, comprehensive, practical talk about the practice of mindfulness and meditation, different qualities. So since I'm having a bad throat, I thought to keep quiet, but I've been listening to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was happy to see you, actually. I was thinking, where would you be at this time, in Sri Lanka or somewhere else?
Yeah. I do remember that you picked me up from the airport in New York, or was it Gander?
Yeah.
And that I stayed with you at the temple it was 2000, a year after the
9/11?
Yeah, 9/11, I think. Yes.
Yes. I will see you next time when I come.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So I always encourage our, listeners to ask questions, not just sit there and listen to Bana. like Banahana wage, it's always should be generating questions and ask yourself. There could be a lot of questions, and it could be simple. So Dhamma is for everyday life. That I always encourage. It's not just simply to the day that you listen to it or a week that you go to temple, So that's, I know many of us can see the Dhamma when we are outside of the country. But now when you are in the country, there are so many things. But outside the country, you don't see the temples, nothing is. So you are missing that part. So when it is happening in that particular situation, so that your thoughts are going with the Dhamma, generating related to Dhamma. So many of you are maybe experiencing who are not in Sri Lanka, out of the country. You may have that, experiences nowadays. I have met many people who start seeing the Dhamma since once they're, out of the country. When there are too much, so you don't appreciate it. When you have less, so then definitely you start thinking about, wow, I don't see it. So you're missing something. Then you start thinking about it.
I think if there are no other questions, we will thank Bhante very, very much. Bhante, much merit to you for having given us your precious time. And I am to thank Sureka, who made the introduction to Bhante. So with that, we will end. It will be nice if Bhante, you could recite the normal stanzas where we
Yes.
transfer.
Let's do the dedication.
Yes.
Let's do the dedication of merit to Devas and our departed together.
Yes, Bhante.
Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahiddhika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkhantu Loka Sasanam. Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahiddhika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkhantu Loka Sasanam. Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahiddhika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkhantu Loka Sasanam. May all this good merit that we develop by discussing Dhamma, generating good thoughts, be shared with our departed relatives if there are any being expecting any kind of spiritual help. May they rejoice this wholesomeness. May they all attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana. Idang me ñātīnaṃ hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Idang me ñātīnaṃ hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Idang me ñātīnaṃ hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. And let us recite. Devo vassatu kālena sassa sampatti hotu ca pīto bhavatu loko ca raja bhavatu dhammiko. Imina punya kammena māme bāla samāgamo satang samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattaya idang me punyang āsavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamunchatu. May this merit that we develop by listening to Dhamma, discussing Dhamma, whatever the good thoughts we generate be shared with all beings. And may we all attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Please receive the blessings. Abhivadana silissa niccang uddhapachayinu chattaro dhamma vaddanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevaca yato nibbana sampatti iminate samijjhatu. So, Teruvan Saranai, wishing all of you good health, prosperity, longevity, happiness, and success. May all of you have opportunity to practice more and more Dhamma in everyday life. Thank you very much. Teruvan Saranai.
Thank you.
Teruvan Saranai.
Teruvan Saranai.
Wonderful.
And may Bhante, may you have a long and happy life, all your spiritual aspirations and all your ventures successful. And Venerable Olande Ananda Thero, Bhante, Kondanna, you may not know that Ananda MahaThero has now lived 50 years as an European monk in Sri Lanka, in Rome for 50 years now, in making Sri Lanka his home. So that's
I know, yes, of course I know from those days. When he was getting ordained also, I was a novice monk. So it's very nice. And also I have to want to correct, I didn't make temples here that many, but what I did was I was going around and teaching Dhamma schools. So those establishment of Dhamma schools those places became temples now. There are at least 6 temples around. I'm very happy about it because it was early days. There were no children in the temple. So when I came, so I somehow start bringing them and then telling them stories, playing with them. This is how I was encouraging them. And then one day I was sitting there. Certain days I was disappointed because who comes today? Next Sunday, another groups come. So it was happening. So one day I was mentioning, if somebody gives me a car, I will be changing this whole system. So they asked me how. Then I told them that, I don't have to wait here. I can move around, and where the kids are, I can, teach it. So somehow after 2 years later, somebody gave an old car. So then who remember that they called me and asked me, "Oh, Bhante, can you keep your promise?" I said, "What promise?" So then they reminded me of this. And that's, of course, if you gather children, I will come. So this is how by that time I was coming to Staten Island. I was in Queens, and from there I was coming here. Then, yes, I would come. So then we started the 3rd Dhamma school in New Jersey, one of the motel rooms. So we had two rooms we shared. So small, 2 groups of children. So those days, very, very, very economical, only $25 for that one room. So that's about 90s somewhere. So we started Dhamma school there. Then after that, start going to Boston. So likewise, I spend my time moving around. So I just, was going, and because I know that many parents come when they have children. When the children are there, so if there's anybody who is any monks, I'm encouraging monks to go around and, go teach children. So that helped in this area to build up 6 temples. All those places where I went to teach, Dhamma school, so it became, I am happy that I created that environment for them to gather, and I gave my time. I still remember the children, so they remember me too. So, but only thing is now they are graduated from their universities, now they're in the work field, they're far away distance. One thing that I couldn't do is, I have a plan, I'm thinking of bringing all of them one day and get them to practice, get them to go and support this, Dhamma to exist. So that is something that I have to do. I'm waiting. I'm thinking of a way to do it. It's very difficult to organize something for all of them to bring together. I hope that they would be enjoying, but I'm talking to many whenever they meet, but it didn't happen yet. One day, maybe I will have an opportunity to bring all of them together. So there are more than hundreds of children now there. So this is how that temples happen. I didn't make temples, but here I came here, and then I also went to Chicago. And Chicago, there's also a temple there now. So I'm very happy about it. So this is something very joyful. I can reflect on myself and be happy about the practice.
Bhante Sila in Chicago was telling
Yes.
me that he was brought there by Bhante Kondanna.
Yes. He was my, as good support in when I was in Sri Lanka. So I can rely on him. I could rely on him, and he, wherever I had, whenever I have difficulty, so I asked him to take care of things, and he went in the Pirivenam. So that's how it happened. Yes, that's very true. Because I was going to, wherever I go, I do have a good habit. Because of Gangaram, when I was there, I was teaching children. With that experience, I applied even here. When I went to, one day we had to go to Chicago for the Pirit ceremony, and our fathers were preparing the Pirit Mandape, and then there were kids who were playing around. I brought them together. Come over here. So I sat in a corner. I was telling them a story. They were sitting and enjoying that time. And from that, parents, I think some parents saw that. So it was quiet, and they can focus on what they were doing. And then 2 weeks or 3 weeks after that Pirit ceremony, I received a call from someone who, Mr. Mapa is there, who is the organizer. And he called me and asked me, Bante, if we invite you, can you come once a month to Chicago? I said, yes. So I arranged my time. Every, I think, 4th Saturday of the month, I start going to Chicago for 10 years. So this is how that community was built. And then actually that should be the first place where we should have Theravada Buddhist Temple, Sri Lankan Buddhist Temple. But our communities have weaknesses. All our, arguments are there. When somebody wants to do something, somebody is bringing that, So what I did was I registered an organization quietly without telling them. And then after, they got together, then I said, it's time for us to start, we should have a monk here. So then after my suggestion, so we got together, Mapa and the other, few other, Chandra, and there are a few other people. So they rented a place. So then I asked Bante Sila to come. So this is how that started. So I'm very happy in that sense, something that we could do for the benefit of communities, and hope now what we need is more good monks who can express, Dhamma in English. That's all what we need. We need more good monks who can explain it without having fear of language. Many monks are here with Dhamma knowledge, but the language skill is not there. That's the only problem. But now I think I have seen a couple of monks in Sri Lanka who are able to, have that language skill. So with that, if they come, definitely then we have to, get used to the environment and their experiences, sharing Dhamma appropriately for the people who are here. And we cannot say 100% of pure Dhamma to Americans. So we have to, slowly introduce it to them. So once I'm always saying, wherever I go for the other communities, we have to have many temples in America. Why? Attraction should be there. Then they would be coming and ask questions. Why these people? We should have generate that question in their mind. Then one day, because it's difficult for them to, let go of that habitual, that their way of life. So we all cling to. They also cling to their habit, their usual lifestyle. Very seldom people let go of that lifestyle and come to the other side. And also they have, misunderstandings too. I have to be perfect to practice these 5 precepts to be Buddhist, like that lady said. I said, start with one, what you can do. Now she's very happy. She's very dearly to the monks and Sangha members. She's living in Florida now, still caring about that. Very happily enjoying her life with the Dhamma. We don't call anybody Buddhist. We don't put a label on anybody. Whoever can practice little Dhamma, practice it. So that's how we encourage.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So it's time to go.
Yes, we'll
Thank
end
you.
this session then. It was a very good session. Much merit, Bhante, to both Bhantes who are here and everyone who joined. We will end the meeting then, Bhante.
Thank you. Thank you.
May everyone be well and happy till we meet again.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Anandharani.